From green ships to General Motors, the government Leviathan continues to inhale taxpayer money. I'm Allen Barton. Stand by for the front page. Joining me in studio is Scott Shackford, associate editor of 24/7 News at Reason.com, and back with us with new glasses and a new attitude, Terry Jones, associate editor for Investors Business Daily. For the first time, the U.S. Navy will be using biofuel to power ships in an operational setting. The price is a mere $26 per gallon, about 8 times the cost of normal fuel, but it's important when you're projecting power planet-wide and keeping shipping lanes open that you do it on chicken fat. Terry, what is the background here? Why is the Navy concerned with the fuel efficiency of its multi-bazillion-ton ocean-faring ships?
Well, you know, supposedly this move is a national security move because it decreases our reliance on imported fuels. But of course, if we just pursued fracking to the hilt and drilled for all of our resources, we wouldn't have to worry about those nasty imported oils anyway. And the other thing here is, you know, this whole mess is going to be very difficult to transport across sea if we should have an emergency. You can't have, you know, local fuels, alternative fuels.
We've got to open up the Persian Gulf. Get the chicken fat over there. We got to get some C-130s.
Critical chicken fat supplies across the ocean.
Yes.
So it's really a silly move. It's motivated entirely by politics from high up. And, you know, generals are only happy to go along with this if they get a few.
Well, what I was going to say is like, while the Navy is a large purchaser of raw materials, I bet this boosts the price of some sort of biofuel chicken fat farmer who donates to the Obama campaign. There must be something in the mix here, Scott. What do you think of this? The administration says, well, you just get to the economies of scale, and that price will just drop through the floor.
Yeah, you know, when I'm looking for examples of economic efficiency, I turn to the Pentagon. But actually, we're getting a deal on this. In 2009, they admitted that they were spending $400, more than $400 a gallon on some algae-based fuels. So this actually is a little bit of a steal, but there's, but what is the incentive here to actually, if they're going to do it, and they've said, we're going to do this. You know, what sort of economic incentive do the people who are providing this fuel are going to really have to reduce their price, even as it becomes more economically efficient?
Well, I just thought they could take, I mean, we have an unemployment problem in the United States, and there are millions and millions and millions of people unemployed. We could just do the Fred Flintstone approach to Navy ships and employ all those people. They paddle their legs. You know, it's its own kind of biofuel. We're not importing gas. It solves unemployment. What do you say, guys?
I say yabba dabba do.
I say right there, we've solved a lot of problems. Okay, and another story of government largesse. IBD notes that GM shares, shocking, continue to lose value. What, with the Volt in its inventory? Stock prices where they are, the Treasury could stand to lose about $35 billion. And for those of you keeping track, the Treasury, well, that's you and me. Terry, how are these loss figures calculated? Because it's so complicated here. They got lent a bunch of money, but they were able to keep previous losses and hold over against future gains to save on paying taxes. It's just shuffling phantom money back and forth, except somewhere there has to be real money and real cost to this nonsense. Why don't you tell us?
I'll give you the Bedecker version of this, the very short version of this. It starts with the government owning 500 million shares of GM, a quarter of its stock. And the stock, when it went public in 2010, was worth $33 a share.
The new post-bankruptcy stock.
New post-bankruptcy GM, yes, the future was bright, and now the stock is trading at a little bit over 19 bucks a share. So we've taken a haircut on that. But we've also taken a haircut on $45 million in losses that GM racked up. Billion. Did I say million?
You said million. Come on, million is so 80s.
I meant billion.
We're in the 21st century. We only measure anything in billions, if not trillions.
That's like a 70s term.
Yeah, exactly.
But $45 billion in losses, and they let them keep them on the books and in essence offset any profits they had in the future. So that's good for about $18 billion in taxes not paid. So that's another $18 billion you and I are on the hook for. All told, you add it up, 17 billion, 18 billion, it comes out to about $35 billion.
You're starting to talk about real money, almost.
Not chump change.
Almost.
One company.
Scott, one of the big problems that GM encountered prior to its bankruptcy is that it stopped becoming a car company and became a health care provider to millions of union workers whose lifespan then expanded. It did the same thing that a lot of municipalities are facing and the whole country is facing. What are they doing about their labor costs, and how do those labor costs still sit when you compare them with other auto manufacturers that aren't on the government dole?
They're still making higher wages than some of their competitors from Japanese automakers, even here in America. They also have a significant pension issue to take care of. They're looking to reduce their pension commitment by about $26 billion. Prudential is going to be taking over some of these costs next year, and they are offering lump sums to some of their retired employees to just get them off the books for good and reduce their pension overhead.
So in terms of, when you look at other auto manufacturers, I mean, GM is always like one of the first people you think of, but if I remember, Ford took no assistance, right, from the government?
Yeah.
What do they do with their costs? How are they handling their labor force? Is it just that they've managed it better, or?
Yeah, they have managed it better, and they've also produced products that people want rather than doing what
Hold on,
the government tells them to make.
Products that people want? Come on.
It's an old-fashioned notion.
There's a Volt out there.
Yeah.
There's a Volt waiting for you.
There's a Volt in your future.
Out in California here, they're now advertising on the radio. Yeah. I think taxpayer dollars must be being spent to advertise on the radio that if you buy a Volt, you can drive in the HOV lanes, but only if you buy the
special low emissions
Volt. And I was going,
not the other one.
There's a high emissions Volt.
There's a different Volt.
But you have to get a low emissions Volt. If you buy a low emissions Volt, you can drive in the HOV lanes in California. I'm sure that'll spike sales, and GM will get that stock price right back. For Terry and Scott, I'm Allen Barton. You've been watching Front Page.